What's up, y'all? It's Erica. As you can tell by the title, this is kind of my story. I'm nervous because this is literally something that only a few people in my life really know. I've told some people who don't really know me personally. This is something that I've only expressed to people that are really close to me, and the people who know about it is because they went through it with me. Because this chapter of my life is almost over, I decided to do my third video on it because it's hard and it makes me uncomfortable, but I feel like it will help somebody else that's in this situation or heading in that direction. So, a disclaimer, I'm not here to bash Brooklyn's dad. I'm past that point in my life. I was very young when this happened, and I'm 27, about to be 28 in like 3 months. So that's not what we here for. This is just my story and my experience, and that's why I am doing it on my channel. So just a brief little timeline, because I'm not going to go into detail about the relationship just yet. I don't really feel that that part is really necessary as far as like this part of my life goes. I will just give you a brief timeline as to how this came about. I met Brooklyn's dad in January 2012 at this Bible study Potter's House has called Brick House, and I met him through my best friend and her then boyfriend, because that was her boyfriend's friend at the time, and that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, because a lot of things would not have been. But anyway, met him, we dated for like 3 months, and then we made it official. It started off wrong from the jump. We were living together fairly fast because of some at-home issues that I was having. I just kind of moved in with him, and I was 19, so let's just put that out there. I was 19 years old. At the end of 2012, I found out that I was pregnant with my baby Brooklyn, and she came along September 2013. Me and him stayed together for about 4 months. Well, we lived together for about 4 months, and then we separated house because of financial issues. We didn't break up. We just both went back to our parents' house. Me and Brooklyn went to mine, and he went back to wherever he was from. I don't really know the exact date that we broke up, but I just know that it was either the end of July or the beginning of August, because I just remember going to a Taste of Dallas at the fair, and that's usually in July towards the end. So we broke up like 2 weeks after that. So I really believe it was like August. But anyway, that was the worst breakup. Like, it was so petty. It was just terrible. I didn't handle it the way it should have been handled, and neither did I. With us living together, we had accumulated a lot of things together, some of which was his, because he was already living on his own. And when we moved out, a lot of our stuff went into a storage unit. That day, earlier in the day, we had talked about me getting my things. He had said that either I was going to get it today or I wasn't going to get it at all. So it was supposed to be around 5, and then I didn't hear from him until later that day, and later that night. And it was like around 9 when he finally was like, okay, come get your stuff or whatever. And so I left, and when I left, I picked up a knife, put it in my purse, and I went. The reason that I had the knife was because we had met up a few times to discuss some things, and they became violent. One of the last meetups that we had, I actually got my foot ran over, so didn't quite feel safe, so I took the knife with me. So our storage unit, he's there, he was late. He got there, opened the storage unit, everything was fine. I was just getting my stuff, putting it in the car. He was asking me questions like, did you pay for that? Or blah, blah, blah. And it was just really childish. But I got to a part where we had this box of DVDs. Some were his, some were mine. I was going through and picking them out, putting mine on my lap, his on the ground, mine's on my lap, his on the ground. He didn't like that his stuff was getting put on the ground. And so he decided to grab the stuff, including mine, throw it back in the tumbler, and went back in the storage unit. And I was like, what the are you doing? And so I got up and started grabbing my stuff back out and putting it in there. And while I was in there grabbing it, he closed me in the storage unit and pretty much locked me in there. I don't know exactly how long I was in there, but it felt like forever. I was on the phone with my sister the whole time, and I lost signal once the storage unit got closed, and so I was like in full-blown panic mode. And so, but all I heard was, I remember while I was in there, I heard someone say,
leave her in there.
Me thinking it was just somebody else in the storage unit, like that saw what was going on. I was like, yes. Turns out it wasn't. He let it back up and yanked me out. I fell on the ground, skin hanging off my hand. I got back up swinging, honey. I was trying to beat his ass, and we was fighting like two niggas on the street. And I'm just being real 100. I was trying to whip him, like, who are you to lock me in the storage unit? So anyway, we fighting, and in the middle of us fighting, this girl that at the time I had a feeling he was seeing somebody else, but I didn't know what she necessarily looked like or what her name was. She jumps out of the car, and keep in mind, we had been there about 30 minutes at the time, and I had no idea she was in the car.
That's because he had her laid reclined all the way back in the seat.
She jumped out. I was kind of paused.
Like, first of all, who are you? And baby, where did you come from? And what the fuck?
She was saying some stuff, and I got pushed back. Head got busted, sprayed my arm. There's a lot of stuff that was going on, and she called the police. Before she called the police, I pulled out the knife. I got there, 2 stories on one, and I went to jail for about 7 hours, 7, 8, 9 hours. I'm not sure. My family had absolutely no idea where I was. They thought something happened to me. Which something did happen to me, but I'm talking about like as far as like I was hurt. My mom was away at some women's retreat, like in the boondocks, so she had no idea what was going on. And I convinced the guard that was there, who was actually a very nice older lady, to call him, because that's the only number. His number was the only number I knew by heart. All my other numbers were on my phone, and he grabbed my phone and threw it. And so I didn't know where it was, and I didn't know what they had done with any of the stuff that was there. She said, I just remember hearing her say, listen, I don't know what's going on between y'all, but you need to call her family and let them know where she is, so that they can try and do something, you know, as far as getting me out or whatever. And he called my mom, and then there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. But then from transferred to Lusteria, and I was in Lusteria for about 4 months. I was in jail from October 24th until February 13th. That's when I got out. One of the main reasons why I was still in there was because the holidays. The courts are closed a lot around the holidays, and you are seen in the order that you get there. So I pretty much was there for a long time because, number one, it was a lot of money to get me out. Number two, like I said, it was the holidays. I ended up with 4 years probation, and I'm not, you know, I didn't have like a record or anything like that. I just had that one thing happen, and I've been dealing with it. But the reason why I'm making this video is because this part of my life is almost over. One more month.
And I am done. I am finito. It's over, okay? I'm over it, child.
I just wanted to make this video because I know a lot of women go through it with their child's father, and at the time when you're going through it, you feel like either A, you can't do it without them, or B, you don't want them to be with anybody else except for you because it's just killing your soul. Don't do what I did, because I handled that situation completely wrong. I take responsibility for my part. Now, was I the only wrong party? Hell no. He was terrible the whole time. It was, the whole situation was a mess. If you're in a situation where you are being physically and verbally like abused, honey, please go. it was easy for me to move around because my family is so strong. My mom, my sister, my granny, my dad, like, are all ride or dies. Like, I've always had somewhere to go. If I was ever in a situation, it's because I chose to be there, because I never had to not be there. Like, you know, and I spent a lot of time trying to be in a relationship that was no bueno, and it ended in fire, flames, turmoil, all of that. It was completely terrible. I was dealt a hand of cards where the odds were stacked against me from the jump. I was going through a custody battle with Brooklyn, a very nasty, evil, horrible custody battle. It was about a 3-year-long deal. At the end of it in 2018, at the beginning of 2018, or was it 2017? No, it was 2018. I got primary custody of my baby. And we have the regular setup. Right now, we're in an okay place to where we can communicate about Brooklyn and not blow up, I guess. We don't really fight that much. We argue about things. The only thing we will argue about is really when something goes on with Brooklyn that I don't like, or he'll question me about something he didn't like, and then we'll have issues. But at the end of the day, we have a common love for Brooklyn. There's no one on this earth who loves her more than me and him. The only person who does love her more than us is God, and I know that. And I've grown to accept that everything does not work out the way that we planned it, because we definitely did not plan to not be together and take care of her and have more kids and stuff like that. But it was not meant to be. It took me about a year to accept the fact that me and him were not going to be anything other than co-parents. And once I got there, honey,
you could tell me nothing, okay?
I found out when I was in jail, because I was going to counseling. While I was there, I was taking advantage of the resources that they had available for us. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, which made a lot of sense because around my birthday in 2014, I was feeling very, very, very weird. I was looking terrible. I didn't care about what I looked like. I was going out in public looking like a rag doll, honey. Me and him was fighting over petty stuff. I couldn't stand the sight of him. So half the time he wouldn't even do anything. I would just be just pissed off. And I just remember feeling weird. And the only time I felt okay was when I was caring for my child. I actually found joy and peace in taking care of her and being her mother. I became very protective of her because a lot of things happened in our relationship where I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with certain people being around her. Even if it was a bit exaggerated, I was very, 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 very protective of her. I still am, but just not as much. You know, she's a very social child. She likes being around other kids. She loves her dad. All I could ask for is that she's taken care of when she's with them and loved and not mistreated. And that has not been the case as of yet. So I hope that came out right. That means that it hasn't happened. You know, nothing like that has happened to where Brooklyn was compromised. So for a while, it was hard for me to find a job. But then I ended up with a job in 2016 working for Procter & Gamble. And I was making nothing. But it was just the fact that I had to have a job. I had to be able to provide and get Brooklyn the things that she needed and make sure that I had the things that I needed. And so I did what I had to do. 2017 is when I started working at my current job. I've been there for almost 3 years. I'm not supposed to have this job. I wasn't supposed to have a job before. But for some reason, God favored me enough to give me these, to make sure that I was never without a job, even with the background. I found that just explaining what happened, most people are like, oh wow, really? And then they give me the chance. And like I said, I've been at this job for 3 years. It has been a stable job. It has helped me obtain things that I wasn't supposed to be able to obtain. I've had 2 cars, new cars. I've been living on my own for a while now. I take care of my business. I have hard times for sure, but for the most part, my life is pretty much regular, and I am so thankful for that because I know it has everything to do with my relationship with God and how much I pray and asked God to bring me out of situations and see me through certain things, and it has worked out for me. And I also have a praying family. I have a praying mother. I have a praying grandmother. So if I know that if it wasn't for them praying for me while I was going through that, then I wouldn't have the things that I have, or I wouldn't have the strength that I have, because I've always been one tough cookie. But this situation has brought me to my knees, and now that it is almost over, I'm about to turn up in a whole nother way. I've turned up before in the past, but I had to be careful, but now I'll be able to do what I want to do, and I am just so excited about this, y'all. I have been like the model person. I don't get in trouble. I've never done anything to get in trouble. I've stayed out of the way. Me and Brooklyn's dad we have managed to avoid big conflicts. I could say the last like maybe 3 years. Well, of course we've fallen out. Like any other mother and father that's trying to co-parent, it can get nasty. But when you keep in mind that you guys both love your kid, and that us fighting does nothing but hurt the child, then if you really love your child the way you say you do, you'll stop it. And I think that's where we got to that point. I want to just encourage somebody, whoever is dealing with anything like this, that it's not worth it. Fighting in public, this is not high school. This is not where you get to go to the principal's office and you get ISS or you get suspended. Baby, you will go to jail, and they will treat you just like a man. You're fighting somebody, when you're fighting, and let's just say these police officers have no problem taking you directly to jail and treating you just like they would treat a man. They are not biased in that way. They will take you if they feel like you were the one that was wrong. And in a way, that was God's way of sitting me down, because I was being very reckless, and I was at the time I was only 21, 22, and I was being reckless. I was doing things that pull up stuff, that pull it out, baby, that'll get you sent to jail. I was doing some crazy stuff. But keep in mind, it's not me now, because I've grown. I'm 27. Like I said, I'm about to be 28. I've grown. You couldn't get me to react to anything like that ever again. Not over a man. They didn't have a problem now trying to get me to have some type of emotion towards them, because I've shut down so much, and it has presented itself as a problem in the past, to where I've been called stale, but that's just a protective layer I have. Like I said, I want to encourage somebody. Nothing is worth your freedom. Nothing is worth taking you away from your kids for any amount of time, whether it's a few days or a few months or years. You don't want to be in a position to where somebody else would have to be caring for your child because you couldn't control your anger, or because you couldn't just let things be the way that they were. You don't want to do that. Brooklyn, I got off lucky with Brooklyn being 1 and still a baby when this happened, because she has no knowledge of this. I will tell her eventually, but she has no knowledge of this. Had she been any older, I really feel like she would remember this. But I got off lucky with that as far as that goes. But some other people may not be as lucky as I was and have kids that have a very strong recollection of things. But just don't do things that'll put you in bad positions like that, to where you will have to deal with it for a long amount of time. Because I guarantee you, the state of Texas, once you belong to them, you belong to them until your time is up. And my time is almost up, baby. It has been hard. 2019 was a good year for me. I had some bumps in the road. 2018 was probably the best year for me. I'm ready to see what 2020 has going. What am I going to accomplish? I want to travel. I want to go to Atlanta for my birthday. I actually was just looking at how much would it cost me to really go, because I feel like I deserve to really truly enjoy my life. Because I've been through a lot. I'm taking care of my child. I'm minding my business, not being worried about nobody or nothing. And that is, that's a blessing. You know, it has been. I am a strong woman. I had the odds stacked against me. I was supposed to be still living with my mom and working some job where I couldn't even pay a phone bill, let alone pay childcare. That was supposed to be me, but it was not me. and it has not been me. And I am truly thankful for that. And I want to encourage anybody that is going through that to just stay strong. Lean on the people that you know love you and that you love. And stay away from toxic people. Get out of that toxic relationship, baby, because it's not going to get better. You cannot change anybody. The cake is already baked, honey. Move on. It's not worth your sanity. It's not worth your freedom. It's not worth the happiness of your child. Just stay strong. Continue to pray for me. I will pray for you. And if my story, if you're going through it with your kid's father, if you want to talk to me, I am here. I am a great listener. I give great advice because I've been on both sides of the fence. So I understand what you're going through. I understand what you're dealing with. Just remember that it does not last long. It seems like forever, but to us, what is years, to God is like a blink. So just keep in mind, if we could see the situation through God's eyes, and we could see what's ahead of that, we will smile and know that this is not it. This is not going to be the end of my story. This is not the end all be all. A lot of people can't see past it because all they see is a problem, but they can't look around it and see, oh, I'm coming out on the other side just fine. I know I didn't, but I made it. I'm about to turn up and live my life and continue to co-parent with Brooklyn's dad. Anyways, thank y'all for watching this video. I would love for y'all to subscribe and like it and tell me what y'all want to see me do on this channel in particular, because I'm an open book. Like I said, this was very hard for me to do because I do not tell people this part of that part of my life. I have never told anybody that. And I wanted to let it go. And once I posted and let people who didn't know that I went through that, once they see it, it's going to be like a huge relief. So thank you for watching. More videos coming soon. Bye.